request the audience kindly stand on the feet as the chief is taking a seat. Thank you. Thank you, sir. So good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I will be the host for this evening. And before we begin, may I take the pleasure of requesting another two dignitaries, Sri Kapil Singh Nehru, NCS, Government of Nagaland, and ARC Nagaland House Shillong, to kindly come and take a seat in the dais. And another dignitary, Sri Dr. Tasungwi Newman, Assistant Professor, NCERT Shillong. It is with a great joy and profound sense of cultural pride that we come together this evening to commemorate a significant milestone, the launch of the highly anticipated Luangdilat Wordbook. This event is organized by the General Pui Elders Forum Shillong. The Luangdilat Wordbook represents years of dedicated research and wavering. This essential resource plays a crucial role in safeguarding and promoting the rich linguistic heritage of the Shillong people. And it is my privilege to introduce a distinguished chief guest of this evening, Sri Som Kamai, IPOS, Planning Advisor, and EC Shillong. We are grateful for your presence here tonight. To begin with the ceremony, I invite Sri Kapil Singh Nehru, NCS, Assistant Resident Commissioner, Nagaland House, Shillong, to deliver the welcome address. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is with great pleasure and excitement that I take this time to welcome each and every one of you to this special place, this special evening. Today marks a significant milestone in the history of our Shillong Pui community, and not only in Shillong, but across the country, in simultaneously launching the much awaited and first of its kind Luangdilat Khuang Wordbook. Today, we are gathered here not only to launch this wordbook, but we are gathered and to reinforce our oneness and unity. This Luangdilat Khuang Wordbook, initiated and spearheaded by few like-minded intellectuals, is one of the first steps towards fostering our common ancestry and dialect as a lingua franca. I believe knowing the key words and similarity in our dialect will definitely help us understand, communicate, and connect more closely. To be here this evening. First and foremost, I would like to take this time to especially welcome our chief guest, Sri Som Kamai, Planning Advisor, NEC. So we are honored to have you here this evening. Sir Som is also the chairman of the Shillong Elders Forum Shillong. And it is because of him we are here this evening in this grand NEC auditorium. We are here this evening in this grand NEC auditorium. We are blessed to have him here this evening. Once again, welcome, sir. I would like to take this time to accord a warm welcome to Dr. Samuel Pamai. So we are honored to have you here this evening. I was informed that he is one of the brainchild, one of the main proponents, born of this noble endeavor. Dr. Sam is a household name here in Shillong, especially for our community. He is actually the rock and fortress of our community. We are blessed to have him here this evening. I would also like to take this time to welcome Dr. Tasongwi Nyumai, Assistant Professor in CRT. So we are happy to have you here. We often bump into each other from time to time. He was like a mentor and elder brother during my university days. I would also like to warmly welcome all the participants who are partaking in this program, without which this program will not be complete this evening. As we embark on this historic celebration, let us remember that even though we speak different dialect and we come from different places, we are but one family, sharing a common ancestry, common history, culture, customs and tradition. I believe through this unique initiative, let us continue to grow together as one family and foster the sense of brotherhood in the days to come. Once again, I, on behalf of the Shillong Elders Forum Shillong, accord a warm welcome to each and every one of you. Thank you so much for your presence. We look forward to an enriching and memorable evening. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for the warm introduction. We are fortunate to hear from those who have devoted their expertise and patience to the creation of this book. I now invite Dr. Samuel Pamai to share insights regarding the journey and challenges involved in developing this invaluable resource. Dr. Pamai will also elucidate the significance of choosing the release date April 1st for Luangdilat Wordbook. Sir, stage is yours.
Good evening, everyone. At the onset, I pay my respect to Luangdilat Wordbook, who is a pillar of our community here, and he, through his graciousness, we're having this place, which very few people ever get to see, and we are extremely grateful to you, sir, for being our people. We're extremely grateful that you, out of your generosity, you have made it possible for all of us to come here. I wish there were more students to come here because you will not get opportunities like this to sit in these colleges. There were times in which we wanted to hire this place. That was many years ago. They asked for 50,000, and afterward they said, this place is not available. Because it is not meant for outsiders to come, for any other organization to do. But today we are gracious, we are grateful to our Longdimai brother Som for going out of the way, and we are experiencing a beautiful evening today. So thank you very much, sir. Respected Kipiusin Miru, our ARC from Nagaland, he is also a stalwart of our people, pillar of our community. Thank you, sir, that we are so privileged as Longdimai people that we have NEC chief here, Nagaland House chief here. How many community have this privilege? We are so blessed and we are so grateful. And every time we meet up, my heart overflows out of happiness. And we thank God for this beautiful opportunity that we could all come together as a community led by people who love our people. That is true. And also, I want to thank all of you who are here today, distinguished guests, and then the esteemed elders, as well as all our students and fellow Longdimai who are here today. So, at this moment, as I share a few thoughts on how our people are moving ahead, everywhere I go, I speak about our Longdimai history. And we need to keep speaking about the history because we need to know, because the new generations need to be informed about our history. We have become so well developed, we know so much about America, we know so much about Europe, we know so much about Ukraine war, we don't know anything about our own people. It's very important to know about the history of our own people. So I never get tired of sharing about the history of our own people. So let me just elaborate again. There are people who have heard the same thing I say, but I hope you'll bear with me. So to begin with, because today there are two parts in my speech. One is the launching of this book, and the other is why we chose April 1 to launch this book. These are both connected together. So I will start with the history of our people. They say our ancestral history tells us that the cradle of our civilization originates from Luangdilat. There was a civilization from Makel, but for Makel, all the other tribes, Tinimai tribes, Angabi tribes, Maram tribes, Mao tribes, Paumei tribes, all came out. But from Luangdilat, it is only the Zilirongpui that has come out. That is why we cherish our history, that we have originated from the place called Luangdilat. According to legends, our forebears, means our forefathers, flourished in that land, in Luangdilat. And according to the legend that we hear, they increased in number because the land was fertile. And I went there a couple of years ago in 2019. The soil is so rich. You know, you have what you call nsat, we call it in Lianla, in Ronglat we call it Gantulu. That is as big as your little finger. So rich it is. And the soil is so rich, the cabbages are sweet, you know, and it is a unique place. And you can always accept the fact that few hundred years ago, 300, 400 years ago, how rich the soil would have been. It was enough to feed the entire population. So in Luangdilat, our ancestor village increased and they started building houses, and they say the houses, they had about 7,777, 7,777 huts, houses, we reached to that level. But because the village became big, there was inter-village politics and so on. So due to various social and environmental factors, different groups decided to migrate in different places. So when they stayed in Luangdilat, they looked down the valley that side, and they said, it's an empty land over there. And empty land means in Lianlat we call it Morwang, and it's empty place. So the people, those people who settled in the southern area, they went to the Morwang, in the empty place, and that's why they became known as Rongmei. And whereas the other group, which was in the west, they migrate to the valley of Zaluki. And then when they went to the valley of Zaluki, it was a plain area. So the Rongmei would call it Zanmai, people who are living in the valley places. And so eventually they became Zeme. And so those people who stayed back and did not migrate, the Rome and the Zeme, they call them Kiliakatmai, only one family left over. So from the Kiliakatmai, a Kiliakmai, the word Liangmai came out of that. And that is how the Rome, Zeme, and Liangmai nomenclature came out of that migration. So basically, we are same people. Our own different dialectical names came out of not because of differences in anything, but basically it was based on the direction in which we migrated. Those, so that is how it went. Those, okay, over time, these groups, they lived in isolation. And so the land was so vast, there was hardly any communication. They lived in isolation, leading to change in language, culture, and customs. And the bond, as a fraternal bond that they had, became weakened because of the distance they lived among themselves. And there was, very commonly, there was conflict between the villagers and those people who settled one another nearby. By the late 19th century, the Shillong people, comprising of Zeme, Liangmai, and Rome, lived without any unified leadership. There was no leadership, there was no unified existence there. Or they did not have any shared relationship because they lived so far away. Each one, they hardly had communication with any one of them. This changed, the whole scenario changed with the emergence of Haipao Zatwanang in 1905. Haipao Zatwanang came out in 1905, was born. And Rani Adil was born in 1915, 10 years younger than him. And these two, stalwart, a great leader of people, they were the one who awakened our people to the need of unity. They realized they are the one who brought forth a fire within our people to instill in them that we need to be united. So they were the one who awakened our people to the need for unity. Their movement against British rule, they rebelled against the British rule, and they refused to pay taxes to the British rule. And their movement against British rule spread rapidly. This rebellion moved so much that our Shillong communities began to unite across those who are living in Manipur, Nagaland, and North Kachar Hills. The details of the whole story, Brother Som is a better person to say because he wrote a book on Rani Adela, so he is the author in that one. So I will not go too much into that detail. However, because our people rebelled against the British, the British were wary of our strength because we are the only one unified group who had the courage to rebel against them. And so they responded against our people with oppression and they oppressed our people. So they oppressed our people so badly that in August 29, in 1931, Haipao Zatwanang was executed. We know that he was hanged publicly in Imphal. And Rani Adil was caught, and she was only 16, 17 years, and she was imprisoned for life. Having removed our leaders, heavy taxes was imposed on our people. Heavy taxes was imposed on our people. And they say that for every house, they have to pay 6 rupees per annum. 6 rupees for every house in the Shillong area. Whereas in other tribes, they were allowed to pay only 3.5 rupees. Half of that. Half of what we are taxed. Other tribes were taxed. For us, it was a double burden for us. They imposed a heavy tax on our people. During these difficult times, the inter-tribal relations were at its lowest. Our people, in spite of all the persecution under the British rule, we had literally moved away from each other. They became disoriented, disunited, disillusioned. And many Shillong villages viewed each other as enemies. And it was even taboo to share food or drink with people from rival villages. Our villages are small village, 30 house, 20 house. Yet there was so much enmity between them that there was no relation at all. Forget about Zeme, Liangmai, Rome. Among the Liangmais, among the Zemeis, among the own dialectical group, villages, inter-villages rivalry they had. And they never shared any good relation with anyone. So there was so much of taboo. Don't even drink water, don't even eat this. That sort of taboo was there. The British understood our psychology and so they exploited this division among ourselves. And using local collaborators, they tried to undermine us. So they would use among our own people, one after another. Those who were the government officials or in small government officials, they would use it as a spy, as this and that, to undermine our own people and bring disunity. So what happened? Recognizing the danger of this continued disunity, our forefathers sought to reunite for survival and self-preservation. They began to understand that we can't go on like this forever. Our very existence is in question. And we need to come together. Unless we unite and come under one body, we are going to be, we will perish even as a tribe. This led to a public meeting. So they had a public meeting on 15 January 1925, known as Aganmei meeting. That was one of the first meetings for unity. This organization instilled a renewed sense of identity among the Kabuis in the plain and the Katsanaga in the hills. And so in 1933, to cut the story short, the British officer, C.S. Booth, he was an SDO, I think, Brother Sum, I think the SDO, C.S. Booth. He was a sub-divisional officer in Tamenglong area. And then he met with our leaders and asked them to explain about your history. And then, so some of our 6, 7 of our elders went to meet him and explain, have some conversation with this British SDO. They informed him that actually the Kabuis and the Katsanagas shared the same lineage and we were inseparable in the way of life. And they explained to him that we are actually one people. And then when the CS Booth came to know that basically we are one people, he advised them to form a union, stating that their unity would strengthen them as a people. So, CS Booth advised our people to come together, have union. That way you'll be able to stand together and be strong. At the rate in which you are so divided, there's no way you will survive. So, in order to do, they heeded the counsel of Mr. C.S. Booth. And as a precursor to that, they decided to come together and do their homework first before they come together. So on April, purpose of homework that they did, there was so much enmity, suspicion among themselves, that in April 7, 1934, our forefather had a sacred ritual known as Suk Thoibo and Suk Raumei in Ronglan. And it was known as the Suk Raumei Tingmek, a day of reconciliation where all past wrong, hatred, and misunderstanding were forgiven. So they decided to come together. They said, we need to forgive one another. We need to reach out to one another. Unless we do this, solve our differences together, we cannot stand as a tribe together. So, heeding C.S. Booth's advice, they first decided to keep their house in order. And in order to do that, they had to have a reconciliation meeting. And this Suk Thoibo and Suk Raumei is a reconciliation day. A day of reconciliation where they have decided to all the past hatred, all the past wrongs, and all misunderstanding that we might have, let us forget it. Let us forget it. Let this past history. On that day, all brothers, they ate and they drank from the same plate and drank from the same cup, restoring the fraternal ties that was Liangmei, Zemei, Rongmei, Puimei. They brought back the ties together and they joined together again. It was declared that anyone who violated this oath and bring disunity again or break this unity would be judged by the Almighty and would be held accountable to the community. That is the brief history of how Suk Thoibo, Suk Raumei, Tingmek, April 1 today, or some people say it is an April 7. Well, I'm not very sure, but I thought it was April 7, but others say it's April 1. So today, anyway, we are having Solidarity Day. So basically, we are here celebrating this reconciliation day today. Now, that was so many years ago. That was in 1934. Since that fateful day, we have, till today, 2024, we have about 80 years plus. 80 to 90 years have elapsed. Yet we find ourselves divided again. This time, not the same formula of division there, but this time we are divided along dialectical and tribal lines. And the Zemai, the Liangmai, Rongmai, and Impui have gone their separate ways, breaking the sacred covenant of unity, which they have promised in 1934. They have broken that willfully. And today we are reaping the whirlwind of that. We are reaping the fruit of that. Even the name Ziliang which was once a symbol of unity, the name Ziliang itself has become a topic of division. Even the name Ziliang, which once symbolized our togetherness, has now become a source of division. Today, our people are fragmented not only into 4, but into 6 nomenclature. Zemai, Liangmai, Rongmai, and Puimai. Kabui, they said we are not part of Rongmai, and Katsanaga, which the government of India still recognizes. So they are saying, where do we? Who are you? Where am I? What tribe are you? We are so splintered. We are broken into tiny, tiny fragments. And this is not the end. You never know. The further you move away, another nomenclature might move. And this division will not necessarily end here. It might be just a process in which more division, more nomenclature can come on. On this auspicious, today, April 1, we are celebrating a day of reconciliation. On this auspicious occasion, let us not dwell on our past mistakes. We can, if you try to find faults, there's no end to finding faults. Instead, let us seize this moment to embrace one another as blood brothers, as our forefather did many years before us. While this division seems deep amongst us, but all is not lost. Every time in WhatsApp we start talking about Ziliang and Rongdimai, the debate is so deep sometimes. Sometimes it's very difficult to even talk to one another. Mood gets spoiled. But there are people among our community who is working continuously, tirelessly to restore unity. There are people who are sabotaging within us, but there are people who are also working tirelessly to bring people together. So, in this working together to bring our unity, recognizing the need for unity, the Luangdilat Citizens Forum was formed in 2012. Basically, earlier it was Ziliang Citizens Forum, but afterward we realized that Mpuimai is not included in it. That is why we said, let us have Luangdilat as a people, one people that has originated from Luangdilat. So Luangdilat Citizens Forum, we changed the name from ZCF to LCF in 2017, here in Shillong. As part of this initiative to bring our people together under this Luangdilat Citizens Forum, we realized that a language is required to bridge us together. As long as you keep speaking different dialects together, division will always be there. We need to speak with one language, and that is why the Luangdilat Citizens Forum constituted a Luangdilat Commission. Luangdilat Commission. And it was commissioned about 4 years ago, which our brother Tasongwi will share in detail as he explains about what this is all about. This, as already stated earlier by our earlier speaker, serves as a bridging language, one language which all of us can speak together. A day will come in which I'm speaking to you in English language. We don't want to speak English language. We want to speak our own language. Why should I speak English language? A colonial language. Why should we speak? It's good to know, but why should we be dependent on this? We need to speak our own language. The Chinese have hundreds of languages, but they have one language which is official, Mandarin. The same thing. This does not mean that you stop speaking Zeme, Lengmen, and Puimen. No. This is your family language. But when we come together, we can have one language which all of us can speak. And when I see you, I don't tell you, oh, where are you from? Oh, I'm from Tamil Nadu. I'm Lengmen, Zeme, Rongmen. No. We don't need to speak that way anymore. You are one in mind. You speak any language you want. And you all speak one common language, that is the Luangdilat language, which will be common for all. So that is why it is going to serve as a bridging language. And today, we proudly launch this Luangdilat khuang. And the book that we are launching today is a Luangdilat to English and English to Luangdilat. So it's easy for you to search. Good morning is written there. Thank you is written there. Everybody takes thank you. Wrong lat. Tonku de, tonku thai. Liang lat, tonku de. Ze lat, tonku le. You speak that way. But you know, thank you in Luangdilat is naida. It is a new language. You think this is new, but this is an ancient language which we have. So today, I thank all of you coming here. Naida, everyone. This is a new language which you can learn from the new. It's so exciting. And so, this project was initiated in 2018, and it was reaffirmed that the classic language that was spoken in Luangdilat was also known as Sarada, a language of the gods, and is the root of all Luangdilat. From that, all the variants of Rongmen, Zeme, Baltimore. So basically, we're going back as much as possible to go back and study the so-called Sarada. This Lat, you think is all Leomai. No, if you really study into it, it is a research done by Rongmei, Leomai, and Puimai, all sat together and they debated and they brought the nearest word which would reflect our original language. That is why we have come up with this. It's not biased on any other languages. So that is how it is. The creation of Luangdilat that we are doing today is a voluntary initiative. It is not paid by the government of Manipur, Nagaland, NCS, no. Or it's not even paid by well-meaning politicians or anything like that. It is a voluntary initiative. Nobody paid anybody for this initiative. All of them came together in their own personal capacity. They voluntarily worked to create this. And has been, and this language, when you say that, you might say, how come this language, the language, do you have any, what you call, endorsement from all of the already existing CSO? Yes, we have already the endorsement of the all Shillong Students Union, Manipur, Assam, Nagaland. They endorsed us and they told us to go ahead with their blessing. And Shillong Bauti gave us a blessing. Go ahead, no obstruction, we support you. So this is with all the blessing of the main CSO that we have gone ahead, and this is what we have done. The fact that we are speaking English today underscores the need for a unifying language, like I have said. Luangdilat is not a new language that I have already said. It is a revival of a dialect once spoken in Makulun. People say, why so many languages? We already have speaking so many languages. Another new language. No, this is going back the crux of the root of your language that you might have forgotten. We are bringing it back. It is the original language. Rather than replacing the existing dialect, we seek to enhance and preserve our rich linguistic heritage. So the member of Luangdilat Commission, who has today, they have celebrated in various states and cities, deserve our highest appreciation for the tireless dedication. We need to thank them for the tireless work that they did. Their efforts and all these people who are making this language, remember, they are not staying in Delhi and having a cup of tea and discussing. Members are in Pelham district, some are in Manipur, some are in Delhi, some are in Pune. The main person is from Pune. And online, they've been working for 4 years. Can you imagine? For 4 years, it's long, man. And so we need to really give our appreciation to them. The effort has resulted in documentation of a language that embodies our shared identity, history, and tradition. We also express our heartfelt here on record, I want to say. We express our gratefulness to the Shillong Students Union, Assam Manipur Nagaland, and Shillong Baudi, Assam Manipur and Nagaland, for entrusting LCF with this important linguistic initiative. Finally, we hope that the Luangdilat khuang means book. Many words we have khuang in our language. Khuang is also a drum. Khuang is also time. So many words of khuang are there. But here we say Luangdilat khuang. Khuang up means it sounds as Luangdilat book. Will serve not only as a tool for learning and communication, but also as a bridge of unity among Luangdilat people. Like all language, this work will continue to evolve, and we encourage further contribution from speaker, researcher, and linguist. This is just a maiden performance, a word book. The next phase, we are going to have Luangdilat easy speaking, where it will be sentences. It will be all kinds of sentences that you could think of. It will come out in a sentence version so that you can speak it. And finally, when this easy speaking is done, we will have it in software. Your mobile phone, you will have instant translation. I speak to you in English, you just put Luangdilat translation, you will hear it in Luangdilat. I speak in Luangdilat, you cannot understand, it will come out in English Luangdilat. That software is already available in Japan, Korea, name it, Spain. You can learn any foreign languages now. The same thing we are trying to inculcate in our people. No matter where you stay, you will always be able to access Luangdilat. And for the first time, I'm meeting my brother here. I speak to you in Luangdilat. I don't know much about Luangdilat. But whatever I say in English, it comes out Luangdilat. You just read it and speak it. That is how we can begin to communicate. It's so wonderful. And it's so exciting. And the future is so good that one day we are going to. Many of our children are studying outside. They have left home. How are they going to learn our language? There's going to be mixed marriages. They're going to be staying in America. Our people are all over the world. How are they ever going to learn our language? But with this app and with this easy speaking, there you are just a button away. You are just a fingertip away from learning our language. You can come with a software. First time you can speak to your grandmother. It's such wonderful and so exciting. So I'm really excited about this venture that we have embarked upon today. So in conclusion, in 1934, our forefathers celebrated the Tukrang Waiting, a day of forgiveness and reconciliation. It was a day of reconciliation and forgiveness in 1934. Today, we launch Luangdilat khuang. We celebrate a new effort towards unity, this time through a shared language. Last time, it was a forgiveness, and this time, we are trying to expand with a common language. May Luangdilat khuang strengthen the bond between identity and unity. As we move forward, may the small initiatives that we take today inspire greater collaboration, strengthen our cultural fabric, and keep the spirit of Luangdilat alive for generations to come. So, Luangdilat, hello, and Gaida.
What a testament to the dedication and collaborative spirit that has brought this book to its fruition. This truly is a career that will benefit generations to come. Naida Dr. Palmai, a patron of Luangdilat Citizen Forum. Next, we are pleased to enjoy a beautiful musical interlude to be performed by Ms. Catherine Palmai. may kindly comment on your time.
Once again, a very good evening to all present here. First and foremost, I would like to thank God for this day, for bringing us together. The song that I'll be performing tonight is called Hey Zilling Romay, and may this song unite us all. Hey Zilling Romay, nang yêu lung su jiwi, maki khâu la piu lan wang lo, naki bui nung dung, naki zen bui buang liang, khâu la wakin kume, aram zeliang romai su, zeliang romai kariu dung ni ziu du, taki tiu ni ziu du, na ro na kalung kume, zeliang romai mai tu liang e. Hey zeliang romai, nang niu lung su ziu wi, maki khâu la piu lan wang lo, naki bui nung dung, naki zen bui buang riang, khâu la wakin kume, aram zeliang romai su, zeliang romai kariu dung ni ziu dung, saki tiu ni ziu du, na ro na kalung kume, zeliang romai mai tu liang e. Ngay tại everyone.
Thank you, Ms. Catherine Padmai, for that angelic performance. It was truly a delight. And once again, Naida Catherine. Now we arrive at a moment we all have been waiting for. And I would like to invite our chief guest, Sri Som Kamai, Planning Advisor at Shillong, to the stage for the official launch of the Luangdilat Wordbook. Shall we give a big round of applause? Thank you, sir, for officially announcing the signature work. And I would like to thank and appreciation to all individuals, organizations who have contributed to this project a reality. A sincere thanks to the members of the Luangdilat Commission, linguists, researchers, and scholars who have been in that level. And we will now listen to an extract from Luangdilat Wordbook to be presented by Dr. Shillong, Assistant Professor at CRT Shillong. So please take it.
Our representatives and guests, Asi, Atsi, Achai, Som Kamai, Planning Advisor in EC, Shillong, esteemed dignitaries, elders, our guests and friends, and our general brothers and sisters. When I was asked to talk about an excerpt from the book, I asked one of our members, I've not seen the book, what do I do? They said, you have to ask Samuel. So I asked him, what do I do? Because an excerpt from the book would be like just a few pages of quotation, things like that. But then that would serve the purpose much. So he said, no, you just say whatever you have to say. So I decided, okay, then let me think about it. I was in the fall only yesterday evening again. So I started thinking, okay, then fine. I asked myself, why do we have these different dialects that have been standardized into what we call languages today? There are no more dialects. The kind of Bible, the syntax, the morphology, the phonology, everything considered is languages now. So I asked myself, what then do I speak? So I'll just try to say, I want to limit my time. So we have the transformative potential is Luangdilat. If we take it up professionally, that's what I'm trying to get into. So today, as we gather here to witness the release of our Luangdilat poem, a trilingual word dictionary of our Zemai, Liangmai, Rongmai, and English, immense pride and happiness, and also it's a time of self-reflection. I was trying to see the live, what do you call, YouTube from the Infal one. They had such a wonderful time. My friend sponsored everything, so it became a very big event. Yesterday I was asking some university friends, you have to go there, so almost 100, they hired us and went. So it's a very heartwarming time for us. This monumental work, it might look so small, but then Dr. Sam has already explained how much they have to labor. This work is not just a work of dictionary. It is a bridge that connects our fragmented linguistic heritage and a testament of our sheer identity as the Luangdilat people. Language is not just about a medium of communication. It is also the embodiment of culture. It is a repository of our history and tradition. Language shapes how we think, how we interpret the world, and how we interact with one another. Our languages carry within them the indomitable, the undefeatable spirit of, like for example in our Shillong culture, altruism, the culture of altruism, and self-sacrificial love and respect for people. If the Africans have what you call the Ubuntu, humanity in the others, I think we also have our own version of such thing in the tradition, such as the khuang. If you come across anyone, an elderly person, carrying rice bag or carrying a log of wood, and if you find that you're stronger than him or her, you will take it upon yourself to make sure that you take the bag or the wood from him or her, and then we call this as the khuang. The other one is Liangtong. I've written an article on this in Google. I have titled my article as the call to institutionalize Liangtong. The honor of Liangtong during Tzagani, it's an article. I thought that article is just a little reflection, but it went to Assam and some many other places. So Liangtong, for example, for the event, you see also one of them. Getting medals or prize in terms of money, all we did was my father, the father of my friend, decided they'll kill a Mithun. By the way, Mithun now will cost not less than 80,000 to 120,000 now. And later Mithun were to kill. And the meat was distributed to the people. So I couldn't understand what is this all about. So why am I doing this? Because in college they give me medals, they kind of love me so much. But here am I. Killing that. And then the eldest man of the community walked up to me, and we called it Sini Gaubo, or the Ni Gaubo, like that. He took away my wristwatch. Someone presented me a watch, and then that watch was taken away. So I asked them, what is this? They said, this is because you will have to labor for that oldest man of the community, because you're the strongest, you're being the strongest is for the weakest of the weakest. So I asked them, what do I do to retrieve back that watch? He'll give you back, but on the condition that you labor for him one whole day. He will give you a task which he feels he wants you to do. So he asked me to do less, not just mere words. This is about a worldview, it's about a culture, it's about a tradition. And you cannot leave this out unless you learn this again. That is why I'm saying. So these values are precious, but they are at the risk of fading away if we do not preserve and nurture our languages missionary approach. So reflecting on our past, I once asked somebody this. How did they manage to convince the authorities in Delhi or in Manipur to recognize Jemai, Liangmai, and Rongmai as separate tribes? To my surprise, they shared with me a remarkable story. They say they took their vernacular passing to read the same Bible verse from the respective Bibles of the Jemai, Liangmai, and Rongmai. The differences in tone and structure. That's why I say, Asi, a brother in Jemai, I asked our brother here, I know that and I want to confirm, so Asi, Liangmai, Achi, the Romans are type. So these differences in tone and structure convince the authorities that they were distinct languages. If you read the Bible verse, the same Bible verse, in Liangmai will be Achi, and Jemai will be Ashi, and the Romans are Chai for brothers, for example. So, but ironically, however, these simple phrases, like for example, what is your name? What is your name? Nazi Chaulo. The Jemai will say Nazi Chaulo. The Liangmai will say Nazan Saulo. And the Rongmai will say Nazan Taujo. To me, these are just but tonal variations of the same language of the Luangdilat people. So, I'm just trying to, help you to think. This mutual intelligibility reminds us that while dialectal differences have grown, they are rooted in common linguistic heritage. Historically, these dialectal variations arose during the headhunting days of Sangnari, the internecine fratricidal warfare between the same community, especially with the neighboring villages. Our brother Sam has already talked about it. So, but one has to remember that those days, the village functioned like a self-contained republic. And all men were south. From today, nobody would go out of the village, and that's it. Nobody will really go out of the village because they fear that chicken pox will come or some diseases will bring. So the only thing they need was salt. Once they've collected their salt, the village get literally closed. So they live that kind of a life. And on top of that, because of the head hunting, they need to develop some secret codes to communicate so that they never lose the war. So this fostering of secret codes of communication later on evolved into dialects and language over time. This process was compounded by the vernacularization of the Bible and the standardization of these dialects into languages as we know them today, as the Liangmai language, Rongmai language, and things like that. A language, I want to caution here, that does not grow and adapt to change is bound to perish. I've read articles and books on language of the endangered, what they call type, by UNESCO, and UNESCO identifies around 9. But then there are parameters that determine the vitality of the language to determine whether that language will survive or not, including intergenerational transmission. Like for example, I have my children here, but then if I stop transmitting, then that language will die. The number of speakers, not only the number of speakers, but the number of people within those communities who speak the language, and the presence of the language in education and official domains. Sadly, our languages, especially in Liangmai, for example, which remains the root Luangdilat language and identity, it's listed as one of the endangered languages. You must have read the report also. Because of the decreasing number of speakers and limited academic uses. A language confined to casual conversation. There's a person by name Professor Zim Cummins. He actually differentiates language into two kinds. One is BICS, basic interpersonal communication skill. the so-called Baza language, no? If people ask me, do you know Hindi? I say, yes. For speaking the Baza, we call it Baza language, isn't it? Just to communicate. The other one is the formal, more formalized, what do you call, academic language, which we use in academic discourse. We call it Cognitive Academic Language Proficiency, or CALP, C-A-L-P. If a language is just confined to BICS, it is at the risk of stagnation and finally extinction. So we must break free from what Simon Freud and other psychologists call the narcissism or minor differences. If we look at our place here, from Dr. Sam to Ajay, Shillong to Brother Kepesi here, and to me, of course I'm wearing, this is a gift from one mind. What differences? There's no difference. But then we exaggerate often the differences to make it, like so unique. If it is not unique, it's as if we put under magnifying glass. So we often exaggerate our minor differences as we jealously guard our dialects as separate languages, unwilling to acknowledge that they have interconnectedness. So, yet with our small population and the demands of the globalized world today, can we afford to be rigid? Sanskrit, for example, should have been the best language. I'm beginning to understand that Sanskrit gave a lot to the world in terms of even scientific advancement. And their language is dying today because you know now what happened to their language. So we cannot afford to be rigid, that's what I'm trying to say. Languages that do not adapt to become that do not adapt to changes will become vulnerable to extinction. English, for example, has grown into a global language precisely because it embraces new words and adapts to changing times. If you open a dictionary, you'll find tika, kebab, and all that. And the word of the year in 2016 was post-truth. The next year was youth. Youth have a lot of potential to change, so they call it youth. Why? This year, 2024, not this year, the word of the year is brain rot. Why brain rot? Because we're all into, I included myself in that group, real now. We'll go after one after another endlessly without any use of, like advancing your cognitive development, anything like that. That's wasting time. So brain rot. So what I'm trying to say is, whereas we are too rigid, the world is advancing because of its capacity to, adapt to changes and then coming up with new formulations to make sense of that world, isn't it? So the release of this Luangdilat Wordbook is a call for us to follow a similar part of openness. We must embrace the shared heritage of our languages and ensure that not only spoken but also written, taught, and used in both academic and professional spaces. If our languages remain confined to casual use or conversational use, the so-called Baza language, our creativity and intellectual potential will be stifled. We won't grow intellectually so much. Professor Jim Cummins, who I referred to before, theory of the basic interpersonal communication skill versus the communicative advanced language proficiency. The first one takes us 1 to 2 years. The second one will take around 5 to 7 years. Highlights this danger. Most of our children actually, when they go to school, especially in Manipur, what happens is the only language, I'm a Liangmai. The only language I know is Liangmai. But when I go to Nagaland, I don't know Nagamese, I don't know Hindi, I don't know English. If I go to Manipur, I don't know Manipuri, I don't know Hindi, and all I know is just my mother tongue. And so what am I doing? It's just like you going to a class where Japanese is being taught with Japanese as a medium of instruction. So there's this job, there was a person by name John, just a fish, an imaginary figure. The professor asked him, I told you for so long, and whenever I ask you, you never reply. You never ask questions, and I'm just wondering what is happening to us. So as one said, sir, you have to understand that I don't know what it is that I don't know. The same situation we're facing. So in terms of even the potential to help our children grow better in terms, St. Emma's principal did one of the researchers, trying to figure out what is the linguistic profile of people who went on to do major in mathematics and sciences. He found out that they are mostly from rural area where their mother tongue was used. And it's a proven fact. So therefore, we have to be open. We must embrace the shared heritage of our languages, ensure that they are not only spoken but also written, taught, and used in academic and professional spaces. If our languages remain confined only to the casual conversational use, we are going to suffer a lot in terms of our academic and what we call cognitive development. Without developing the academic vocabulary and creating educational content in our native languages, they will remain limited to simple conversation, while English will continue to dominate our intellectual spheres. Furthermore, we must be mindful of how our children are growing up. While learning English and other languages is essential, of course it is essential, allowing our native tongues to language allowing our native tongue to language without fostering intellectual growth is detrimental to our society. The Chinese and Japanese, I know they look like us, but the kind of education they have and the cognitive growth that is possible, actually they have demonstrated that it is possible to learn both your mother tongue and English and still do very well. That's what I'm trying to say. So they ensure that their languages are not just conversational, but fully capable of academic and scientific discourse. I have a classmate in GNU who used to write something quite pictographic, and I used to, what are you doing? I'm taking note. What kind of note? Sociology note. In what language is foreign? So what I'm trying to say is, if you look philosophically, there's a person by name Luangdilat Wordbook. He said, the limit of my language means the limit of my world. In other words, the boundaries of our language define the scope of our understanding and experience of reality. So especially at a young age, when all you know is the Luangdilat language or Luangdilat, I think we really need to standardize, like this entry-level proficiency so that our children will really do well in education. We need a very proactive approach to language preservation. Let us initiate projects to develop academic terms in our languages, be it in GMI, Liangmai, or Rongmai. Let us use our languages in debates, essays, and scholarly writings also. Let us publish academic journals and hold some seminars where our languages serve as a medium for deep intellectual engagement. I was told that there's no word called universe in our language. So I asked one of the elderly person, and he said, no, actually there is. If you go through the folk songs, they use a word called singen, and singen represents universe. So what I'm trying to say is, for a deeper level of engagement, to help our children have that cognitive level of development that is at par with others, we actually need to institutionalize the use of our language, especially at the basic level. By doing so, we'll be able to breathe new life into our heritage language, making them not just as tools of communication, but vehicles of thought and progress. Suppose if I remove all the words that is in your brain now, I don't think you can think so much. Of course, people can visualize in terms of visuals and things like that. There's a lot of debate going on between language and thought, but if I remove all the words that you know from your brain, I don't think you can think. So therefore, we need to give serious thought to it, more about the role of the official and institutional support. And the market space is very crucial to language preservation. If our languages do not find a place in the administration and commerce, they risk being deemed as irrelevant. Let us advocate for inclusion in our school, use of our language, Luangdilat, in local governance and even the marketplace, ensuring that they remain functional and respected. I think this will become possible when we acquire a sense of self-autonomy, like some sort of autonomy or a sense of self-rule. Today's occasion is more than just a celebration of a word dictionary in Luangdilat. It is a reminder that our identity as Luangdilat is inseparable. You cannot separate our language from our identity. We must choose the path of adaptability, flexibility, and creativity while holding on to the roots that grounds us. I was talking about the English adaptability and flexibility. The video, for example, is a Latin word. The meaning is I see. There are so many beautiful things like this. And they keep adding one after another. So let us let this Luangdilat Wordbook not be just a book of words, but a symbol of our collective resolve to revive and sustain our heritage, linguistic heritage. Let us continue to speak, teach, and nurture our languages. Let us breathe life into them by making them academically viable and intellectually rich. Let the future generations of Luangdilat proudly carry forward this legacy, knowing that our languages are not merely memories of the past. Our languages are not just merely memories of the past, but they are instruments of our progress and identity, which will ultimately serve our destiny. So, in fact, maybe Luangdilat should come out as one people, one language, and one destiny. I'm borrowing somebody who said that in Nepal. So, thank you, and may the Luangdilat Wordbook inspire us to preserve and cherish our shared linguistic heritage. This is a small thought. I can go on lecturing for even 1 hour because I'm a teacher by profession, but I think I've taken too much of your time. Thank you. This is to kind of give you a spark to just think about why we have different languages, how it has happened, and can we have the transformative potential of our Luangdilat be there so that we also excel at par with the rest of the world. Yeah, thank you.
If I may quote from the Luangdilat Wordbook, I quote, "May Luangdilat Wordbook serve as a bridge between generations and be a useful resource for the development of Luangdilat. May this work inspire further scholarship, engagement, and collaboration, strengthening the linguistic and cultural fabric of Luangdilat for generation to come." Unquote. Thank you, Dr. Newman, for effectively reflecting the essence of the book. We look forward to engaging with its contents. Now, we are honored to welcome the chief guest, Sri Shillong coming back to the stage to deliver his remarks.
A very good evening to all the guests, not guests, our friends and students especially. Dr. Achai Samuel Pamai, who has been the foundation, or rather the pillar of this whole Shillong chapter of our Shillong group. Thank you. Our Dr. Tasami Newmai, he a very learned, knowledgeable person academician who understand our language, our culture, about our Shillong history. I'm very happy to be among all of you, and my brother Kupu Singh Nehru, whose generosity and his enthusiasm for our Shillong people has been quite an eye-opener for me and brothers and sisters and friends. I think Dr. Sen would agree when he was passionately talking about our Shillong history, that I think Dr. Sam, I share a lot of, you can say, commonality with you, because since the time I was a young student in Delhi, I left Imphal at the young age of around 11 to study Delhi in 1983. So though I spoke Romani, I grew up among friends who spoke Punjabi and English and Hindi, etc. So sometimes I used to think, because speaking Hindi language, and because there was no one to speak our dialect with anybody, except in those days there was no mobile phone, except in once in a month you call up home for money. So that too, in the STD would, you can't afford to speak for long, more than 2-3 minutes. So language was something that always made me feel very proud also, but I felt that we as a community, we as a tribe, we need to have this communication intra and within our group, intra communication within the sub-tribes. Because I felt that in my travels in all our Shillong area, whether I go to Tamenglong or Haflong, Laisong, all these places, including our Silchar side, and of course in Tamai and all our Senapati areas, all our Shillong, I've been to most of the places, and I found that people are aware, but the distance and the or even in Beren or other places, they're not so concerned about what's happening in other, maybe in Imphal or Tamil Nadu, because the lack of communication has over the years made us think that we are just comfortable in our own groups, and that has also led to thinking like I think Dr. Tsongli has beautifully put it when he said that the microscopic difference that we find has been, made larger than life. So we end up thinking that we're all different tribes. Some people seem to also thrive on this. So I think when in the year, probably I was in college, first year of college, we had this Shillong student, there was no union at that time. So there was Shillong student group in Delhi, and we formed, and there were people, from my people especially, helping the majority, that we should have our own, and all about our Lemai and our, layman people, or Lemai, our brothers, sisters. So a lot of aggression to have that ethnic identity, that false pride, I would say, rather than looking at the whole thing. But luckily, I, because of my father, my interaction with so many lovers of Shillong or Shillong movement like D.P. Parmai, D.P. Parmai, and others who just sort of made things very clear that we are one people. So that has made the whole situation, or rather understanding of who I am, very clear. So people ask me, what do you, when you dream, which language do you dream? Because I speak, even now, I speak English at home because my wife is different tribe, and my children refuses to speak. So we all are speaking English as a first language, and Romai and Ao is the second and third. So like that. But I think I'll tell you a story today, because you must have heard of a famous Chinese leader called Deng Xiaoping. He is the father of this, what you call the Chinese economic miracle. So when he was younger, when he was a student, he went to study in Paris, in France, engineering. So when he went there for 6 years, and when he came back, he didn't learn a single word of this French, because he said, I don't want to think like the French. I want to think like the Chinese. So he like the person said, a Korean person writing notes in Korean only in the sociology class. less like that. He learned everything in Chinese. And he said, when people asked him, how come that you didn't learn a single word of French when you were 6 years old? Then he said, it's because if I start talking French, I'll think like them. So he said, that's why I speak in Chinese and write in Chinese and I think like a Chinese. That's why when China grew, like they call it the dragon economy, it outgrew everybody else. It was because their way of thinking is different from us. The whole philosophy, the whole culture, the way they treat, or respect the elders, your peer group, your competitor, your enemies, is the way, the Confucius way of thinking and looking at things. So the philosophy, everything comes only when you have the language shared. So like that, when I feel very happy because when we think about Shillong, we think about our heroes like our then Rani Edilu. All these leaders, they lead a very exemplary life, an icon for all of us as life of sacrifice. Actually, in fact, our whole heroes, Kaidemnam, Jadonam, Pairani, are all tragic heroes. You know, because of our struggle has been. It's all about suffering and how to overcome the suffering or exploitation. So I think what we need to change is this type of positive thing like our Luangdilat Wordbook. Things like this, a positive development, a positive thing, something innovative, something new, and I think this is the small step towards our unity. All the, I don't want to use bad word, but all our so-called leaders and CSOs who are fighting among themselves, I think let them go to, wherever they are needing to go. Don't want to use bad words, but, sometimes you feel very angry, because they are only so selfish and self-interest. They want to be in the position of respect or power or prestige because they occupy a certain thing in certain, because otherwise if it be combined they will not have the space. So that type of political space and for that selfish end we have suffered as a people. So I'll not talk about history, but I believe I think I was just counting heads. We are around 50 plus people here, and if we are all 50, if each one of us can convince our next people, one person also, it becomes 100, and then we go on. So we should start. I didn't get discouraged because this hall capacity is for around probably 250 or 300 people, but we have already been able to fill up with 50 people. But my hope is that this our unifying language, that all of you are concerned about our Shillong, our Longdiram, our Longdi Mai group, about our development. So even myself, I don't call myself a very big shot or anything like that. I'm just a simple lover of, or rather admirer of our Shillong people. And I'm very proud to be our Longdi Mai, very proud to be a Shillong Pui. So with that, I want to also thank especially the Luangdilat Commission. Excellent work. I was just going through this roughly, and many of the words that I found I wanted to know was here. And I think as we go on and it'll keep developing. I think the somebody said very beautifully put it that it has to become a living language, a growing language. the nearest example is the Mizo land. Mizo, as you know, the Chin, Kuki, the Zo group, you call it. There are so many, hundreds of dialects are there, but they have decided to speak the Mizo dialect, and they made it compulsory. And I guess that sort of thing may not happen with us because we are too independent, whereas the Mizo people are more disciplined and they listen to the authority because they have that unity. And most importantly, they have a state to implement all these things officially also. So till that day come, I think we all have to devote our time and little bit out of your busy schedule, whether you're a teacher, whether you're a student, whether you're a professional, a bureaucrat, whatever you are doing, business also. If all of us can just spare a little time, maybe half an hour or 1 hour for our Shillong cause, no? For our unity, I think one day our Shillong people will also have a very bright future. And there's a again I'm quoting Chinese, when a Chinese, this Deng Xiaoping was asked, what is the future of China, of the Chinese civilization? No? So he just simply said, the future lies in the next generation. It's not for me to say what Chinese or Chinese civilization will be, but it all depends on the youth, the next generation. So the youth, I think I'm around 53 years old, and I'm reached a certain stage in life where I can't do much, but the youth, the students who are here to learn and move forward, and you'll achieve great things, I'm sure. So with that, it is in your hand. The future is in your hand, and if we can all just contribute a little bit to and love our people and love our culture, love our language, then I think Shillong or Luangdilat has a great future. So with that, I say end with Shillong, we live there on.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your insightful perspectives with us. Your words are truly inspiring. Once again, thank you, sir. Now we are delighted to welcome Ms. Gaitapriu Panmai for another musical performance.
A very pleasant evening to everyone present here today. It has been truly an honor for me to be a part of this program, and I'm truly privileged to have witnessed today's event, an occasion which marks history for us Luangdilat people. And with that gratitude, I would like to sing Liangmai traditional song which was composed during the first Luangdilat Festival 2019. I hope all enjoys the song. liang nanggu indra khuang chiu tàu ra cu he luang đi mai wong phui lua cuối la bu rang hai áp piu áp bao nhiêu sâu điếc hai bố luang đi ra Ram tin ca bin ni gu khai gu in quang phúc ninh ga ca thi khai ga phù ba cuối luang đi sa kim cao i kum lung khai lắc hay an yêu luang đi mai tung yêu Luang đi mai ram ca linh tâm ra khâu rồi kinh kiều bồ ram nang phong ca su ban vô hi na hai ra cha nhiều cha piu cao y Luang đi in ta gu in khai hai ca ti lang gu ma me lu ai o phui lo cuối la bu rang hai nhiều sao diệt khai bố luang đi ra Ram tin ca bin yêu khai cô in quang phúc ninh ga ca lý khai ta cô mà cuối luang đi ai yêu cha kinh cung lung khai lắc khe mà cuối luang đi mai dung yêu Sangkat suangye sangkariwe apiu apo adiu lenau kang tan yu in kian khai bi riliu bikin ka kin khai sa buồn liang cung lu la diu mi tùy kiu khai he luang đi mai wong phui lo cuối la bu rang hai áp piu áp bao nhiêu sâu điếc hai bố luang đi ra Luang đi mai quy sang Luang đi mai gian hai cả tăng gu Luang đi mai ram hai quy sang Luang đi mai gian hai quy sang Thank you all.
Thank you, Ms. Gatakli, for that wonderful performance. And no occasion is incomplete without expression of gratitude. I would like to invite Mr. Alvin Zutta, the General Secretary of General Pre-Office Forum Shillong, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Good afternoon, everyone. Before I start my word of thanks, with the permission of Chairman of Jedang Creators Forum, I would like to introduce one of my friends, a well-wisher, who is here amongst us to witness the occasion. And let me tell you a little bit about himself. His name is Mr. Albert Laikangam. He is the founder director of Northeast Power Infra, and he used to, and he has been helping this kind of organization in his past days. Especially, he had financially and materials help Appai Rani and niece was running her school in Longkao. So he personally went there and then delivered all the needs that she needed, and also financially assisted her in the year 2020 somewhere. So he is here. Can you please stand? And he also will hand over an envelope to our treasurer, Mr. Tulbibo. Please come forward.
This is just in support of the spirit that you have in uniting the different communities that are separated. I totally support unity. That's why it's just a token of maybe gratitude, I would say, and I feel very inspired with it. Thank you.
Today's program is a very insightful one. I think we should have, not only a listing of this book, but we should have a kind of, interaction like this very often. And I would begin my word of thanks. It will be word of dun, not thanks. It will be dun, it's word of short. So I begin. Chief guest Sri Som Kami, IPOS Planning Advisor, Northeastern Council, Shillong, esteemed members, and executive of Shillong Students Union, Shillong, President and his, President and his executive, and ladies and gentlemen, the Luangdilat Wordbook releasing ceremony has been a resounding success, and we owe it to our unwavering cooperation and participation. Our heartfelt gratitude goes to our chief guests for not only graciously accepting our invitation, and also for his invaluable financial and logistical support with JDFS. Again, we extend our sincere thanks to our chief guest, Sri Som Kame, for facilitating the approval from the concerned authority of NEC, enabling us to utilize this auditorium without any charges. Imagine we are hiring, just like Apollo has mentioned, if we have to hire an auditorium like this, we would have spent a lot of money. Thank you, sir, for your unwavering support. Yeah. And I also thank you for your wonderful speech, for taking us back to, the past, and also, reminding us to dream of the language that we are going to speak in future, that is Luangdilat. Thank you, sir. And we also acknowledge the financial assistance provided to us by our esteemed elders and advisor, Dr. Samuel Pamay and Sir Pio Singh Meru, ARC, Nagaland House, which has been instrumental in making this function a successful one. And we would also like to thank our brother, Dr. Tasoniwa, for his insightful speech. And, enlightening us the importance of, having common language, a language that we have to, in practical, we have to, utilize it in every way. And furthermore, we express our gratitude to Sri Laikambam Albert Laikambam, founder and director, Northeast Power Infra, for his generous financial assistance towards the ZEFS fund. And last but not the least, we thank each and every one of you present in this auditorium, as your presence has made this program a grand success. Zayang Pui Telo, Huktan Yung Kalum Maida.
We also would like to acknowledge Ms. Abigail Palming, who took a tremendous task in designing the cover for Luangdilat Wordbook. Thank you, General Secretary, for your thoughtful words of appreciation. And thank you to each one of you for being part of this momentous celebration. And we hope that this book serves as a beacon of knowledge and a pride for the Zerong Hui community, contributing to the continued flourishing of a language and culture. And for those who would like to obtain a copy of Luangdilat Wordbook, books will be available for purchase at entrance. And before we conclude, I would like to propose a photo session, and that will mark the end of the event, and that will be followed by a heavy refreshment as said by the committee and interaction of our own fellow community members. So I request all the members to kindly step forward for a photo session. Thank you.